If you need a buzz, no, it is not tough. There is a place you love, the Social Buzz Club, the place that you need to be set free. They'll make you feel at home like a king on his throne. Information you love, the Social Buzz Club will help you with your goals and help you take the toll. No, you can't go wrong. Socialbuzzclub.com. So do not delay. Visit today.
Well, hello and welcome everyone to Social Buzz You, brought to you by, yes, you heard it, Social Buzz Club. I'm Laura Rubenstein, your president of Social Buzz Club, and also absolutely excited to be here with you today with Kai Alday. Hi, Kai.
Hi, that was awesome.
It was fun, huh? We have our own rap song, and before we get into your presentation, I wanted to let everybody know what are we doing here, and a little housekeeping. We are engaging over at socialbuzzu.com, so if you haven't registered to get our page where we're engaging, please go over there and get it, because at some point we may discontinue the live and just be there. Remember, replays are available to our paid members of Social Buzz Club. So what is Social Buzz Club, you might be asking, if you haven't already heard? Well, imagine for a moment influential networkers, influencers online sharing about you, sharing links to your websites, your blogs, your landing pages, your podcasts, your videos, your high quality content, your freebies, your landing pages, anything you have online. If you'd like more traffic to, that's what we do. Our network is a collaborative network of influencers who share each other's content. And people are increasing their traffics like 60%, 70%. And check this out, Kai, even 1,000%. We had reports.
Wow.
Yeah, just by using this, what we call gamified content sharing influencer marketing tool. Say that 10 times fast. Anyway, what we're here today is to give back. We like to do this twice a month, bring you dynamic speakers and the latest training to help you build and propel your business to the next level. In fact, we have a library of over I think, 275 trainings with some of the brightest thought leaders in our world, teaching you about everything you need to do to grow your business, whether it's bring a book to market, how to publish and do book marketing, or how to run an Instagram contest, or do Facebook ads. We've got all those trainings inside the back end of our platform. So not only do you have a gamified content sharing system that ensures reciprocal content sharing, we also have training for you. We do these trainings live free on the day of the recording, which is today, right now, for you. But then by tomorrow, it'll be behind our paywall. And I make this a no-brainer service because I'm passionate about small business owners, as I know you are, Kai. And so stay to the end, because I'm going to share with you my very special gift and how you can get involved for like a no-brainer way. Anyway, let's move on to Kai, because Kai is going to show us the money today and how to get paid what you're worth. Okay. And Kai, I'm just going to introduce you a little bit. I mean, we just met recently, and I just love your enthusiasm, your energy, and your expertise. I know Kai Alday is a momentum coach. She is known as the business coach obsessed with results. We love that. Kai believes that businesses don't need to be complicated. They don't need to be boring, and success isn't only for the few. Woohoo! So here's to more success. Kai works with people to help them get unstuck, feel confident in their business prowess, and create the success they want without compromises. She has a no secret love affair with brain science, habit, and success creation and building momentum. She believes that our jobs as entrepreneurs are to be so successful that generosity becomes our norm. Yay, here's to generosity. So let's show us the money, Kai.
Hi, thank you for having me. I think it's really cool what you do. I actually was introduced to Laura by Tessa, one of my friends, and she was telling me about how your platform works, and I absolutely love it. It really does help other entrepreneurs, and I think it's such a cool thing to like be able to help each other get up and noticeable. That's the best way for us to really share, is to link arms, and we talk about this all the time, but you link arms with other people who have the same thought process, who have the same, and you're only helping each other get to the top. So I'm so excited to be here. So thank you guys so much for having me. Do you want me to just jump right in?
Yeah, go for it. We got your
Okay.
screen up, and I know you have lots to share, so go for it.
Yes. So she's going to stop me if any questions come up because I'm just going to be in the zone. So let's get started. So as we talked about today, we're talking about show me the money. What does that really look like? Today it is about how to get paid what you're worth. And the first thing that we're going to go through a few things, but what I want to really walk with you guys through is if you're looking at this box right now, you see the blue box. This is what we want to get paid, right? This is what we deserve to be paid, what our value is the blue box. But in the white box, this is where a lot of us live. We're charging what the market tells us to charge, right? So that coach down the street getting paid $75 an hour, I feel the need to be paid only $75 an hour so that I can be competitive. But there are other ways to be competitive, and that's what we're going to talk about today is how do we get out of this white box and into the blue box. And the reason that this is so important is because as entrepreneurs, we have influence in our communities. But if you're spending all of your time frustrated about how do I get paid? How do I get that next paycheck? How do I? Then it's hard to be an influencer. It's hard to create impact. And so that's why this is so important to me and why it resonates so much. So the 4 things we're going to be going through today are the 4 common pricing mistakes, where your prices are missing the mark, how to get people to pay you what you're worth, and your not so secret weapon and how to maximize it. And not necessarily in that order. Okay, let's get started. So if you don't know, I'm not going to go through a whole long introduction, but my name is Alday and I'm a momentum coach. Something that you might want to know about me is that I'm a prodigal entrepreneur. What does that mean? It means that I was raised by a family of entrepreneurs and I did not want to be an entrepreneur, which is kind of funny because that's exactly why I do what I do today. I basically watched my mom. She has a very successful restaurant, 25 years. And those of you who are in the restaurant business or know anyone who is, it is a hard niche, right? And she worked her butt off. I think I saw her like 30 minutes a day when I was in high school, unless I was working. And so because of that upbringing and seeing how much she had to work and how hard it was for her, I was like, I'm not going to do this. I looked for the corporate job. Like, how can I find somebody to pay me? And I wanted to make a difference. So then I went straight out of college right into nonprofit. I did that for about 6 or 7 years. Then I traveled the world, came back, and then I went into corporate because I was like, okay, now it's time for me to make money. Now it's time for me to get that corner office, that CEO title, all the things that I was wanting. And then I realized that there's this myth of one day. And what is that? It's this idea, and all of us have it, whether you're an entrepreneur or you are working in corporate, it doesn't even matter. It's this idea that I'm going to work super hard right now. I'm going to work all these hours. I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to strive. And then one day I'm going to enjoy my life. And for me, it was a reality check because I had 2 kids while I was in corporate. And while I was in corporate, you work the hours, you do the overtime, you do all the things, and it's not a bad gig. I mean, you get paid well as well, right? But I just had this idea that, okay, once I get to this level, then I'll be able to hang out with my kids and give them the life that they want. And I remember talking to this, he was our CFO, and we were just having a conversation. I was like, so, you've been doing this for 10 years now. You have your kids, your family, you're making X amount of dollars. So has life changed? And he looked at me, he's like, we take better vacations. And that was this moment where I was like, okay, so you're telling me it doesn't change. And at this point, I had already missed 5 years on both of my kids' lives, right? 5 and 3. And I didn't see their first step. I wasn't going to get any of that back. And that's when I realized this myth of one day. There's no such thing. Even if I made it to that point, I was going to miss everything else. And so I then started my journey, and I just started asking all these veteran entrepreneurs about their journey, like how it was, how, now that I'm getting excited, right? And this is where the money comes in. So I'm talking to all these entrepreneurs. And as I talk to each of them, I realize that there are two problems that everyone is dealing with. The first one is how you structure and create your business, right? How do you create a business as an entrepreneur that doesn't rely solely on you, that you can walk away from and still make money from? That was the first part. And then the second problem was how much they were getting paid, right? So they felt like, I can't charge as much if I want to be competitive. And so all of them were in this position of they had owned their businesses for 20 plus years and they were trying to sell. And then I would ask them, why are you trying to sell? I mean, you have this money maker here. It's successful. And it's because I don't have enough time. And then I was like, okay, well, so you're going to make enough money from the sell that you can retire. No, I'll probably have to get a new job. And it was just mind blowing to me that you could work so hard and not have enough money to carry you over. And I was like, there has to be a way. And so that is where my journey began. And that is why I love to talk about money. So let's get right into it. The 4 common pricing mistakes. So let's see if you can see this. The 4 common pricing mistakes. So the first is the arbitrary numbers, right? What are arbitrary numbers? So when we pick a price based on, oh, that sounds good. Yeah, that seems like a reasonable amount to ask somebody. That's what happens a lot of the times, especially when we're new out of the gate, we pick an arbitrary number. The second mistake that people make is that pricing based on their personal perception of worth. What does that mean? It means that I have a degree. I've been doing this for 10 plus years. I've been paid X amount of dollars at all my other jobs. Corporate had paid me this much. I was a CEO. I was da 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 da. My worth is at least a minimum of $1,000 per hour. Right. So first thing I'm going to tell you is that you all are invaluable, right? So there's no price tag you can put on it. But our personal perception of worth is very different from our customer's perception of worth. And we're going to dive into that in a little bit. And now the third mistake that we make is lifestyle-based pricing. What does that mean? It means I have a goal. Let's say I want to make $10,000, $20,000 a month, or I only want to work for 4 hours a week. Whatever the goal is, right? It's a lifestyle goal. If I make this much, then I can still travel. I can still have my house. I can still do these things. So then we work backwards. Now, this isn't bad, okay? Usually when I'm working with somebody for the first time, I'm asking them, what is your money goal? Because we've got to at least pay the bills, right? So I do think that this is valid. But what I don't think, where I think this goes wrong is that, let's say that I have these lifestyle goals, right? So I want to make $10,000 a month. So then I work backwards, right? I make $10,000 a month divided by, let's say I only want to work 50 hours for the month. Then my each hour of service is $200. Now, the problem with this is that what happens is we're not actually equating the value of what we're offering to the price. We're just coming up with a price based off of a goal. And that is where it goes wrong. And then the very last one is letting the market or customer set our price. Now, I do believe that you should always ask, you should be inquisitive, find out what is the rate of pay, what is the average market rate, what are people asking for. But this is what I often see. I'm sure that you guys have seen this. Comment if you have, if you're watching this live. You go into a Facebook group that you're a part of, and then somebody asks, how much should I get paid? I'm a new coach. How much should I get paid? I'm a VA. I've been doing this for 20 years. How much should I pay? How much should I get paid? And then somebody is like $50 for the coach and $10 for the VA. But then when you really think about that, there's nothing wrong with those prices per se. So there's nothing wrong with the fact that somebody feels that way. But is that really what she should get paid as a VA who's going to take over my social media, who's going to do all of these things for me? Is that really her value? Probably not. It's just a number that sounds good. It's a number that seems reasonable to me to pay you. But that will teach you something. And there's something to be said about that. Let it teach you. What it's teaching you is that they don't understand what you bring to the table. They don't understand your actual worth. And that is an opportunity to educate. So that is what we're going to go through today. How do we get around doing these things? Because sometimes it is just guessing, right? But there is more to it. And so that's what we're going to jump into today. Now, if I can get my slides to work, we really will. There we go. Okay, so let me just show you. This is our perception of pricing. Most of us. Some of you have really done some work on this, but for a lot of us, this was my perception back in the day of pricing. Okay, so I have, let's say that we're just going to go with a price. So let's say that I want to make $5,000 a month. So when I look at my pricing sheet, it looks like a strategy session is $400. The speaking fee is $5,000. The VIP is $15,000. It makes sense that I would go for the VIP or the speaking fee. I mean, it would make sense that I'd go for the VIP. Let's just be very plain about it, right? But the question really is, and this is what a lot of us do, is we stick up a number and then we wonder why we're not profitable. So I'm charging them $5,000. I'm bringing in $5,000. Why am I still not making a profit? And let's really look into what this actually looks like. So that was perception. This is reality. Now, for the strategy sessions, if I do $400 a month or $400 a session, if I want to make $5,000, right? This is all based off of $5,000. I would need to have 13 clients, but they're 5-hour intensives. They can be super draining. I just put these numbers out here, right? They can be super draining. And can I really keep up with 13 clients a month doing these sessions? Because that's a whole day. I can't do 2 of those in a day. Then let's look at the speaking fee, which makes sense, right? $5,000, 1 a month, that's it. But then you look at what goes into it. I got to pay for my out-of-pocket costs for the travel. There's the travel time. There's the preparation time. There's so much that goes into one speaking event. Even just talking on a webinar, it's not like you just show up and that's it. You are preparing to serve people, right? And you want to do it at your best ability. Same thing with a speaking fee. You've got to think about all those things. When am I going to come in? I got to get rest so I can go. There's so much that comes into that. And where is it located? How far am I going to have to travel? Then there's the VIP. Now, when we break it down, that $15,000 really is over a 6-month period of time, which means I need 2 clients. That seems like it's a pretty good deal, right? But let's bring this back. If I just did the VIP, if I lose 1 client, I've just lost $15,000. If I lose 1 client on the strategy session, I've only lost $400. So it makes sense to have a mix of things, right? Now, I'm not saying that go with this and then go for it, but you want to really look at what goes into your pricing and what is going to go into the effort as well. So the thing that I noted before is that when we play in that little box, remember that little box from the beginning slide? Let me just bring it back up here. When we play in this little white box, then I said there's only 2 ways for us to get paid, right? To make more money. So if I was at $5,000 and I was working however many hours, let's say that now I want to get paid more, right? So now maybe my goal is $10,000 a month. Now, the only way I can get paid that is if I do things outside of my genius or I work more hours. Now, what does that look like, doing things outside of our genius? Well, I think of a web developer. I think of this girl that I always talk about. Her name is Jane. She's my like pretend person. But Jane has a website design team. You know, they work on the best website design, all that kind of stuff. But she can only charge a certain amount because of the market value, right? Because she's only playing in the market value realm. Now, when she charges that, she has to do X amount to be able to pay her employees, to be able to pay herself, to be able to keep the business running, et cetera, et cetera. But then there are clients who are like, well, I really would pay more for SEO. Could you do some SEO for me? So now Jane hates SEO, but she's okay at it. So now she has to make that decision. If she's going to play within market value, she's going to either need to do things outside of her genius, or she's going to need to take on more hours doing more website design. Right? And that's why it can be a problem. And that's why there's so much more that goes into pricing than just, that sounds like a good price, and let me do that 3 times this month and I'll make my goal. There's so much that goes into your business that sometimes you don't even think about. Now, the question we need to be asking is what will my people, my customer base, what will they pay more for? Or better said, what is worth more than money to them, right? And on a very simplistic level, what's worth more money to me? Convenience, perfection, right? Attention to detail, experience, quality, results, nostalgia, right? We pay money for things that remind us of things. That's why people collect. Efficiency, ease of use. Now, the question then becomes, if that's what your customers are willing to pay more for, what of those things do you offer? What can you offer? What is that value? Right? And that's what we really need to start thinking about is, okay, so aside from I just coach, what do I offer? What are the results that I offer that people would pay more for, that is worth more than money to them? Perhaps it's being able to build your business without having to redo it over and over again, right? Build it right the first time. Perhaps it's ease of use for some of you or efficiency for some of you. Whatever that looks like, now we can start to dabble outside of that little white box. But we have to understand what that value is first. So let's just look at this real quick and then we'll move on to worth. So these are the three base things. Like when we look at a price, if we're not even thinking about worth or value, but these are the three basic things that we should be thinking about when we price, right? Expense. So what do you have to pay out in order to do your business? I have to pay for my internet. I have to pay for the systems that I use with my clients. Whatever that looks like, what's the expense? Then what's the time that goes into it? How long is it going to take you to sell, deliver, to create, right? What's the pre and the post? What time goes into this? So for example, as a coach, I don't just spend the 1 hour with my client. I have the pre and I have the post, and I have everything in between this call and the next call. So it's not just an hourly rate, but it's also how much time is going into it outside of that. And then there's the last one is the effort. And I love this saying is, are you charging enough to cancel any resentment? And that, I think, sometimes when you play it within the market, the average market price, you are only charging enough to make enough to get by. And so there's a lot of resentment. And the problem with that is it comes out in your work, right? Either you're not going to be as efficient because you're overworked, trying to make more money. It's not going to come out in your personality because you're so frustrated, like all of these things. So these are the basic things to think about, right? Just off the top of your head. These are the things to consider. But now let's get into worth. So when we talked about it earlier, when I talked about the 4 mistakes, I did say that a lot of times when we look at our worth, this is what we see. I've been in business for X amount of years. I have my PhD and 10 credentials behind my name. I'm an industry leader, et cetera, et cetera. We also see that as experts, oftentimes we speak to what customers need. So we come at it from 2 ways. What I'm bringing to the table, and I know exactly what you need. Let's first tackle the need, because I think this is the easiest one to understand. When I go to somebody, I'm like, hey, this is what you need. You need to work on your habits. You need to work on your brain and how you're going to change the science behind all of this stuff and blah, 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 right? If I say all those things to somebody, they automatically zone out because they're like, wow, that's a lot of work and it sounds hard. And our brain is just going to cancel it out and like look for the things that I understood in what I just said. So we don't go to people with what they need. Like, how many people go to Starbucks because they want Starbucks? I don't need to spend $5 to $7 on a drink. I want that drink more than I need to spend that kind of money. I don't need Starbucks to make me coffee when I can make it at home. None of this is a need, right? But I'm paying for the convenience. I'm paying for the flavors. I'm paying for the experience of just driving through and having a coffee. So I'm paying more because they're playing outside of that white box, right? I could go to a gas station, pay $1 for my cup of coffee. I don't, because why? I want what they're offering me. And that's what we have to start speaking to is, what do your clients want? What are the results that they're looking for? And that is what we're going to get into right here. So how do we take our worth? This is what we see as an expert. But the worth to the client is very different. Okay, so we come at it and we're like, hey, look, this is everything that I have to offer. And your client doesn't see your value because none of that matters to them. Now, if I'm going to get surgery, then perhaps it will matter that you have a PhD in specifically what I'm looking to get surgery for, right? Then it matters. But for the most part, I don't care. Now, yes, I care I respect you and I think that's awesome. Like, right? But how many times do you follow somebody that is a doctor, that is so smart, that is like written a book that you really admire them, but you haven't paid for any of their services? There's a difference between admiring someone and getting them to cross the purchase gap and come over to you, right? And if you want them to cross the purchase gap, then we need to start thinking about what does worth look like to our client. And here are the 4 questions that we have to ask. How does this serve me? If I am the client and I'm thinking about that, then the real question is, how does this serve me? How does your product or your services, right? Your coaching, how does that serve me? How does it solve my pain or problem? Better yet, how is this different from what other people are offering? Is it more efficient? Is it faster? Is it easier? Is it what is different from you than other people? Like, if she's charging me $50 less, why would I come to you instead? I need to know that. That's a part of us educating our clients, right? And then the last thing is, how will this get me what I want most? Remember, we talked about the need versus want. What do I want? What are the results I'm looking for? What does success look like to me? Now, when we're talking about all these questions, you're going to understand how that not so secret weapon answers all of these questions before you ever have a conversation about pricing. Why is this important? Have you ever gone to somebody, and I've literally saved money and sold things, thousands of dollars worth of things, to get a coach, because that's how much I saw their value. Never even spoke to them, never had that 20-minute free call, nothing. That's how much I saw their value, right? That's how much I believed that they were worth. Isn't that what we want from our clients? We want them to see our value and our worth. They aren't looking, these are great things, right? These are like the cherry on top. But for us, for all of our PhDs, all those things, that's the cherry on top. But really what matters to them most is how it serves them. How does it solve their pain or problem? How does it solve it better than anybody else? And how will it get them what they want? That's when they start to purchase. They will cross over that purchase gap. Now, the not so secret weapon, don't get mad at me when I tell you what it is. It's branding. I know people get upset sometimes. She's like, I know this. I do the branding. We're going to really get into this, and we only have about 10 minutes left. So I just want to jump into this. Now, your not so secret weapon, you're probably already using it, right? You've got your logo, you've got your font, you've got your colors, all of those things. But why is branding so important? Let me give you an example. So you see this bottle of Chanel right here. How much is this bottle of Chanel? Let's pretend it's the medium-sized one, and let's just say that it's $100 for this bottle of Chanel. I can go to Target, and I can buy the Target brand of perfume for $20. But why do I buy? And let's say they even have similar smells, right? So why do I buy the Chanel one? Why am I willing to pay $100 for the Chanel brand, but not more than $20 for the Target brand? And it all has to do with branding. When I look at Chanel, they ooze luxury and beauty. They sell me what I want to feel. Right? At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. You all have your preferred brands, and there's a reason why you have the preferred brand. Maybe some of you would go for the Target because you want to save money. So that's what they appeal to. They're appealing to the customer base that wants to save money. Chanel is appealing to the customer base that wants to feel that luxury lifestyle, that wants to live that romance, right? Be swept off their feet, et cetera, whatever the commercials are selling these days. That's what that's who they're selling to. So you have to understand, we all think that customers come to us and they all want to save money. And of course, if I'm given the chance to have this Chanel bottle and this Chanel bottle and exactly the same, whatever, I'll buy the cheaper Chanel bottle, period, right? It just makes sense. But at the end of the day, customers, and we're not going to dive into this today because this is like a whole another 30 minutes, but there is Maslow's hierarchy, right? There is a greater desire, a greater need that we have versus just the price. And if you can tap into that, when you ask a customer what they want, when you're asking a customer what it is that they feel like success is for them, that is a conversation about something greater than just I want to save money, right? Now, to some people, that might be the most important thing. But then you have to decide if those are your people. Because if it is, then you need to serve them where they're at. But there's a whole slew of people who are looking for something more, right? Looking for something more that you offer, and you've got to figure that out. And all of that comes out in your branding. Now, where does branding go wrong? I'll tell you right now, because I definitely have an opinion about this. And I was the same. I wasted a year of my business trying to figure out the perfect branding, right? I looked at the psychology, colors, like if they look at the blue, it'll calm them, and da 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 da. And I looked at the things that I liked. Like, I really like that font. I really like this minimalistic look. I like, all these things, right? And then I looked at, okay, well, if I want people to pay me this much money, then I should have a certain look, right? I should have a more luxurious brand, because those are the people that I'm going for. But let's look at, it's very much like this. It's this little girl, she's dressing up in her mom's clothes, right? And that's a lot of times what branding is for a lot of us, is us showing up the way we think we're supposed to, or us showing up in the clothes that they look good, but they don't necessarily fit us. And the reason why I might pay more money to somebody who is more casual looking is not because of how they showed up, it's because of the value that they gave me. If I see this in a brand, I'm going to be like, what? Right? Now, that is where we really need to think about that. So how do we really figure out our branding? There are 4 pieces to branding, and these are the things that should inform your color, your font, the story, like all of that. But all of us start with like, what color looks nice, and what will appeal to people, and what will get people to pay me more money. And then we are wondering why people won't pay us the money when we have this luxurious brand, right? Here are the 4 pieces that are super important, and that I've seen work over and over again. Number 1 is, what are you known for? What are your expert topics and subtopics? Now, this is when we're creating content, because your brand is more than just the color. It is how people see you, but we have to shape that, right? So what are you known for? Figure out what you're known for. Pick 2 to 3 things. Play in one box in the beginning, right? Figure it out. What do you want to be known for? It doesn't mean you have to stay here forever. People get so afraid when I start talking about niching. It does not mean you have to stay here forever. But if somebody doesn't see your value because you're doing 5 different things, it isn't their fault. But if they see that you do this one thing really well and that's what they want, they're going to come to you over and over again. Okay. Now, the second is brand. And Seth Godin explains this so well. He talks about how customers perceive us. Why is this important? Because we want to decide how they perceive us, right? Now, I can't force them to see me as a luxury brand. I can't force them to see my worth and my value, but I can inspire that. How do I inspire what they see? It's in numbers 3 and 4. So number 2 is deciding what it is that I want them to see. What when they look at my brand, what is the value that I offer? Hopefully you remembered what that was from earlier, right? When we were talking about that, when we were talking about what are your customers, what's worth more than money to them. That should be a part of this whole equation. Now, if we look at number 3, the fields, this is how we have number 2, and that is informing how we create 3 and 4. Right? We've decided what we want to be. So if I'm Nike, I want to show up as I want people to see me as this inspirational, aspirational, like fitness. Like, so if I want that body and I want to be like somebody who just does it, then that's going to be my brand. That's what they're speaking to. That's what they've built, right? So that's how we all see their brand. But they wanted us to see their brand that way by doing numbers 3 and 4, and also number 1, right? All of these speak to number 2. So the feels, how do I want people to feel? How do I create connection with them? I want them to feel empowered. I want them to feel like they can just do it. I want them to feel, Chanel. I want them to feel that luxury lifestyle. I want them to feel that romance, whatever that is. What is it that I want them to feel? Pick 3 to 5. 3 to 5 feelings, period. That's it. Don't go above and beyond. 3 to 5. And then number 4 is the stories that we share. These stories are so important. They're defining stories and moments about that highlight what we do well, why we're so valuable, about the success stories of our customers, about why we love what we do. It differentiates us from everybody else, right? If I just look at a commercial and I'm looking at somebody's Instagram, I'm going to know more about that person because of their Instagram, because of their Facebook posts, because I'm connecting with them. They're telling me these stories. That's what a commercial does as well, right? But it only has 30 seconds to do it. But all of that goes into that commercial. All of that goes into your stories, your Instagram, your Facebook, your LinkedIn profile. All of those things go into it. Now, this is where we should start. And let's just say that the feels that I want to give somebody is I want them to be excited about their business. Then I'm probably not going to choose a mundane blue color. I might choose this nice pinkish coral color, right? It's something that's a bit more vibrant, because that's how I want them. Now you can choose the color, the font, the feelings, right? All of those things can come once you've decided where you're playing. So we need to really understand that when I went to that coach and I was willing to spend $10,000 for less than 6 months of coaching, it's because I saw their value before I even ever had a conversation. Why did I see it? Because they were selling me something that I wanted. And in the end, they delivered. Thank God. But that was important, right? But all of that came through their branding. It wasn't because they had a beautiful, nice blue that made me feel calm. It's because of the stories that they were telling me that made me see their value. It was because of how they made me feel like I really could do this. I bought into that. I saw that they were an expert in their subject. All of those things showed me what they were worth more than had a nice blue color or a nice yellow that makes me want to buy, right? Those psychological aspects. There's more to it. So start here, and these should be the pieces that then feed your colors and your fonts and your messaging and your copy. All of this should feed that. Now, let's say that you do this right. Okay, so you've done it right. You figured out what your people are willing to pay more for, right? What their wants are, what the results are, and then through all of this, you speak to that over and over again. This is where you're educating people on your value, right? On your expertise, on your worth. All of this is how you educate people. Now, what if we've done this and people still aren't paying us what we're worth? This is what I like to look at. Now, this is an alignment model. This is how I look at my business and anybody's business who's with me. But we always think of the muse, the money, and the magic. When they come together in the middle, that's when we know we're aligned. Now, the magic is like, so I have a skill set, maybe it's website design, but it's that part that people are willing to pay more for, right? And it's that it's super easy to use and do it on your own afterwards. It's that it's super efficient and whatever that is, right? So they're willing to pay more money for that. That's where my magic is. It's the where my skill and what I offer that's above and beyond come together, right? That only I can do. Now, the muse is the person that you serve, right? It's the person that inspires you to do your best, to offer the products that you offer, to all of those things. That's your muse, right? Your client avatar, your ideal client avatar. And then the money is obviously where the money is. So we're going to go through this really quick, and then I'm going to wrap it up. And this is just what I want to tell you so you guys can really think about it when you're trying to figure out, why isn't this working? It could be that you have a misalignment somewhere. Now, let's say that you know your magic and you have your muse. So you're right over here. But the money is missing. People aren't paying you what you're worth. So you're in front of the right people, but you aren't offering them what they want and are willing to pay for. So you might still be speaking to your expertise instead of trying to cross over to that purchase gap and speak to them about what they really want, about what the success looks like for them. So they're still not willing to pay that money because you haven't crossed over that bridge. So that means that you aren't offering them something that they're willing to pay more money for. Now, what if you know that what your magic is and you're in front of the right people who are willing to pay money? Well, then you haven't found the right people. So you have not found the right people, your people, right? Who see what you're worth, because you know what you're worth and you see these people who have the money. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're willing to pay you for what you're worth, because they're not your people. I've done this before, right? I've been in this situation where I know exactly what I'm offering, and then I get in front of the wrong people. And what happens then is I am trying to present this offer, but it doesn't make sense to them because it's not what they want. And I am not their person. I'm too happy. I'm too whatever it is. So I am not their person. But as soon as I got in front of my muse, who, by the way, didn't have that money, but they saw my value and worth, they were willing to pay me the money. They were willing to save money to work with me. So we've got to stop thinking that the money is only where the rich people are. A lot of us have this assumption that because the times are hard, because of this and that people aren't going to pay me. It's because you're not speaking to what they want right now. And then the very last misalignment comes in is when you're in front of your muse and they're willing to buy, your magic is not being utilized. We're just a price tag, right? Because if I'm just saying I'm just a coach, and I'm in front of my people and they're willing to buy, and I'm saying I'm just a coach, I'm not showing them what magic I bring to the table, what value and worth I have, then I'm just a sticker tag amongst many other sticker tags. I need to educate them about my value and worth. And that's where it's misalignment. Now, alignment is where you've found your people. They value your work and are willing to pay you for it. This is where your work turns from hard work into heart work. It feels good and it's no longer forced. This is where we all want to play, right? Where we have the capacity now to play and have fun and do what we love and grow. When we're just striving to make enough, we're having a really hard time growing. So I hope that this helps you guys, brings you through what we should be thinking about, the basics of what goes into pricing, then what gets you outside of that little white box and into the blue box, right? What's going to get you out of that and over and across that purchase gap. And then this last piece right here is, how do we really think about it? How do we, if I've done all these things and I have great branding and all that stuff, then where am I missing it? I might be speaking to the wrong people. I might not be offering them what they want, right? I'm still speaking to the need instead of the desire. Or I'm not talking really about my expertise, my value, my worth, my magic. Okay. So I would love to connect with you guys, and you can find me at Success Alday on Instagram or on Facebook, The Momentum Studio. And I do have a special offer for you guys. It's a freebie. It is called the Money Math Calculator. Now, once you guys have, this is just a fun tool to play with. You can put in what you want to make for the year, and you can put in your program and how much money you want to charge for that and how many people. And it literally comes up with everything for you. So it's going to come up with, this is how many clients you need to serve. This is how many times you need to do it a year. It's a fun thing to play with when we're just trying to figure out our money. And I would love to invite you guys to join one of our momentum parties. That's how Laura and I met. And it's so much fun. It's like a networking and training event all wrapped into one, fast paced. And we work on one specific thing. and it's about 2 to 3 hours, and it's just supposed to be a fun time to get together with other ladies, drink some champagne, learn something new, and meet new people. So thank you guys so much for having me.
And it was super, super fun. So it was a party. I love that you framed it that way. And I love how you take this whole concept of being able to get price what you want and make it fun and relevant. And thank you for this wonderful wisdom. And so if you're going to, if you want to get in front of more people to, to offer your pricing for, and position yourself as a thought leader and do that and get that articles spread out there like you're talking about in your step one, is you want an influencer marketing platform, because it will help you to explode your ability to reach millions that you would never have access to before, because influencers are sharing your content. They're driving traffic to those blogs, to your articles on LinkedIn, to your website, to your videos, to your special offers, to your free webinars even, and thereby you're having access to thousands of fans and friends and followers and connections that you wouldn't otherwise have through this influencer network. So I wanted to make it an offer to everyone that, like I said in the beginning, a no-brainer, right? So if you want more influence, if you want more traffic, okay, we have this platform where you can submit your content and other people will share it out, right? And it's gamified, so you have to share other people's content, earn some credits, and then you can submit your own and they will share it and they'll earn their credits, and it's very reciprocal. So what do I mean by a no-brainer deal? First of all, this is the equivalent of buying thousands of dollars of ads on social media. I don't know where you can get this kind of exposure for only $297 a year. I'm not talking a month. I'm not talking a week. People spend this in a day sometimes on those networks. I'm talking a whole year. Plus, I'm going to do it for you for the first 30 days, or my virtual assistant is going to do it for you. So if you want to take advantage of it, the bonus is today only. Okay. So with the free virtual assistant for 30 days, go to socialbuzzpremium.com and get the account set up. Number one, well, pay for the annual membership, and then email me at laura@socialbuzzclub.com. laura@socialbuzzclub.com, and I'll set you up with my VA. So I'll send you my calendar. We'll book a time to get you set up. We'll only be sharing the content you want to be shared, the types of content, and we do a very boutique-like service. I really can only offer it today only because otherwise I get too many people, but this is so valuable that my passion is to help you fuel your message out there in the world. So I want to encourage you to be with us and to do that and make it a no-brainer deal. And we're here twice a month, as I mentioned earlier, with great training. Like Kai, you were tremendous today. Thank you for your generous gift of all this information. You've kind of set my paradigm well with the way you framed it. I love this. Branding is about showing your value. It is about connecting with what people want. It's so important. If you're not doing it, people, get the money math calculator. Start thinking about your business. Talk to Kai. She's at Success Alday, and that's Alday with one L, because that's your last name, Kai. It's great. And socialbuzzclub.com/success Alday will take you right to her money math calculator and ways to get in touch with her. Come back. Be sure to be registered at Social Buzz U so you can get notified when we have a new speaker. We send out emails just about that for you each week, twice a month, I should say. So you're not going to get bombarded with email every day. You're just going to get it when we have a speaker coming up. And the next one is Nikki Chang Powless. She's going to be talking about ineffective marketing, how to avoid it, and how to break through that sales barrier. So if you need sales support, then you'll definitely want to be with us on August 13th, which is my birthday. So I'd love to see you then. So thank you again, Kai. This was so fantastic.
Thank you so much.
I look forward to getting the buzz out about you and other people, and hope to have you back again. Bye for now, everyone.